Assalamu alaikum. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. In the name of Allah, who is the most merciful and the best planner among all. My name is Shazib Hussain, and today I'm here to define my topic: how to use podcast as learning tool. What is podcast? Podcast is a digital media service, digital media files, or a series of files distributed over internet to play back over your devices on your mobile phones or your personal computers. When I'm talking about the media files, I'm actually talking about the audio files, not the video files. Let me explain you. Podcast, now we have podcasts on YouTube as well, like video platforms on we can watch it, but I'm talking about the podcasts that were at the time. So at the times there were the FM radio, and these were also called the podcasts. How these were called the podcasts? These were called the podcasts just like they have the conversation between them, and they made a recording of that and they post on some platforms and people can hear that. So moving towards my next topic, which is why use podcasts. Why we use podcasts? I'm telling you the benefits of podcasts to ensuring why we use podcasts for a learning tool, for as an educational tool. Benefits. Ideal for auditory learners. Let me explain to you how they are ideal for auditory learners. Many of some we have the different types of learnings, just like many of us have the learning through the audio listenings. Just like you can have the experience of lectures when you are listening in your mobile phone, you can understand easily. How students consume content, manage busy workloads. Let me explain to you. Sometimes when you are reading, sometimes when you are taking lecture as a visual, you may face problems of not doing anything other. But when you are taking a podcast, when you're listening to the podcast, you may have the multiple tasks to do, and you can consume your content in a better way. And let me tell you how can you consume your content in a better way. Just like you may walk, or you may sometime cook even while listening to the podcast. And the podcast can be of any topic. While you are cooking, while you're doing your laundry, you may listen to the podcast. I'm moving toward my last point, which is download it to listen. You may download your podcast anytime and you can listen it anytime. And for that to happen, you just need to not to be specific for that task. But as I said earlier, that you can do it as a multiple task while walking or jogging. How can we use podcasts? University of Wisconsin has defined the 5 steps to teach and learn through podcasting. Let me tell you with the first. Select appropriate content. The content you are selecting should be appropriate, should be concise, should be dense, nor should be complex. Means if I'm a teacher, I'm citing the contents. It should be not a condensed. It should be not a danceable content that the students, the listener of audio, the listener of podcast may not have the effective visualizers of the content. Determine your instruction goal. To write your content, to have your content, just instruct your goal. Determine that what is the purpose of your content, the way you are going to conceive to convey the content. And toward the third step, which is design your content. Design your content in a way that the message you want to convey must fit on it. Produce your contents. After having these 3 steps, you have just select your appropriate content, you have designed your instruction goal, you have designed your content. Now you are ready to shoot your podcast. Embed your podcast. Your podcast must not be very long or very short. Your podcast must be of the time that the audience should not get bored. Required equipments for podcasting. There are 3 equipments required for podcasting. And what are these? Microphone, smartphone to save the files, and third one is editing software for editing your podcast. What to podcast? Now after seeing all the images, now what to podcast? What can you podcast? Lectures, but not scripted. The lectures that comes from your enthusiasm can be a podcast. The stories. Sometimes the teachers teaching the history as a story will help us to understand very easily. If we are listening to that history stories many times through our podcast, we may have the better understanding of history. Conversations with guest speaker. You may have one person to talk with, and dialogues are more understandable than the narrative building. Students demonstrate learning. Podcasts help students to demonstrate their learning. Thank you.